Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Today, we're going to talk about self deception. We can easily detect deception of others, uh, but what's difficult to recognize is self deception. So, are there people who deceive themselves and people who don't? Actually, no, not really. There are people who are aware of their self deception and some people who are unaware of their self deception. Self deception is part of the evolutionary process to live in peace and happiness. So we need some level of self deception, like denial, for example. There is a healthy denial that keeps us happy. Many people have this denial of death, denial of weaknesses, denial of failure, denial of our own deep sense of insecurity. Ibtisam, you're the first one here. Thanks for waiting for this. I appreciate everybody who follows me in the videos, both in Arabic and in English. Usually I make Friday and Saturday Arabic videos and Sunday English video. Second one, okay, welcome everybody, and I appreciate your following and your interest in these videos, and welcome for my French-speaking friends as well. Bonsoir, everybody. Why do we have to deceive ourselves? Because self-deception by the brain saves energy. The brain, by its nature, is an energy-saving machine. That's how it is. The brain does not want the headache of the truth. So we are equipped with mechanisms that takes away our perception of who we are, and we develop mechanisms throughout evolution to see the things that protect us and keep us alive and help us survive. That's how it is. Throughout hundreds of thousands, millions of years, our brain, the Homo sapiens brain, developed in a way to perceive and see the things only that keep us alive and help us survive and protect us from the enemies in the environment, the lions, the snakes, the tigers. And that's how we survived. And the people who were able to do that, we came from them. So I always tell people that we came from the people who are actually scared. We are the grandchildren of the cowards, not the brave. The brave people were eaten by lions because they didn't pay attention to the dangers, risk takers. So our brain, what's left in our genes is the self-preserving, survival promoting mechanisms that keep us alive and try to keep us happy. Now, our awareness as humans in 2021 has advanced to some degree, but our genes still function at the level of 10 million or 2 million years ago. And the scientific term for that, they call it genetic mismatch. Genetic mismatch means your genes are not matching this November 6th or November 7th, 2021. The genes are still functioning based on our ancestors that we came from a million years ago. Why do we have to deceive ourselves? Because we don't like to tolerate the pain. We don't like to tolerate the failure. And we also want to look good in front of our own selves and also in front of others. That's how it is. What's the difference between human beings on that scale is how much are you aware of your self-deception. This self-deception is in all of us. The people who are aware of self-deception, they are aware of their internal mechanisms that sometimes take them to the wrong path. The people who do that are more than likely to be more mature, at a higher level of maturity than they might be struggling, but they tend to be more successful. If we want to advance as a species, we have to be aware of that, because our brain functions now somewhat, the level of awareness and the advancement of our cerebral cortex is different, of course, than a million years ago. Now we have Facebook and WhatsApp and Tesla cars, self-driving cars, and Neuralink and all of that. So what do we do? First, you have to be aware of your own self. Second, you have to find a way to resolve your conflicts about your past. Third, you have to accept yourself as you are. You have to accept yourself as a human being with weaknesses, with insecurities, with a lot of problems. Accepting yourself does not mean agreeing to stay where you are. No, accepting yourself means you have a gentleman agreement with yourself. That's who I am. I'm going to accept it now. I'm not going to feel guilty about what happened in the past. I'm going to forgive my past. I'm going to handle life as if I am born today, and then start to work on myself. The past will not leave you alone. It will continue to haunt you all the time. But if you get what's in your unconscious, as much as you can, get it to a conscious level. The people who have some close attention to their unconscious motives, to their belief system that was installed in them, they were programmed with, and who are aware that not everything they were programmed with, their core belief system, not all of it is right. So you have to always challenge your own thoughts, your core belief system, your automatic thoughts that you were born, or after you were born, it was installed in you, and that's how your brain cells work. The people who always question reality, the people who are always uncertain about the facts that was built in their heads, they always question it. So when your automatic thoughts come up and tell you you're not going to be able to do this, you question it and say, no, I am able to do it. I will try my best. I will do it. When your automatic thoughts based on your core belief system tells you that the people are bad, the people are against you, you question that. And the more you do of this, the more you're aware of your own internal mechanisms and dialogues that goes inside you, that deceives you from the truth, that deceives you from the reality. And we talked about there is a reality and there is an internal representation of reality. So there is no reality. Let's assume there is no reality. What we agree to be a reality is different among ourselves. My reality is different. The way I see you is different than the way you see me is different than the way I see myself. We have to agree on that. And I spoke in a previous video that in the brain there is a sensation center, a sensory center, and a perception center. They call it association cortex. The function of the association cortex is to give you a meaning of the sensation. So what you see me now is not the real me, is what your brain showed you who I am. And what does that mean? It means some of it is what you saw in front of you. Some of it is your previous experience with other people. Some of it is your expectations of me. Some of it is highly emotional tone that tells you, do I like this guy or I hate this guy? Do I like what he says? Or so still your emotions are in control and your past is in control. So you will see from me what you want to see, not my real self. Understanding that process will realize that when you see me or you see somebody else and you have an opinion, you have some perception, you tell yourself this might not be the truth. This is how my brain is showing me or is telling me. And the brain could be deceiving me. Your brain can always deceive you because your brain likes to save energy. It doesn't like to waste energy. So your brain tends to stereotype. Your brain tends to generalize. And stereotyping means you're going to put me with the people who are similar to me in your categories. We think in categories. So you put all the categories. A psychiatrist living in this town who's from this origin, who's like this, who's like that. And you create that all people who can fit that categories, and because you're emotionally attached to that category, and that category it was installed in you, you will consider everybody of the same category the same. That's how stereotyping works. So stereotyping saves energy. Stereotyping saves energy because you don't want to think of every individual as a human being. You think of all the group as one group, and your perception is easier. So stereotyping saves energy in the brain. Categorizing, thinking in categories, also saves energy in the brain. But in all of these ways of thinking, you might be deceiving yourself and your brain might be deceiving you. So that self-deception is actually the rule, not the exception. And cognitive bias is the rule, not the exception. And cognitive bias and self-deception is not always bad. It helps us a lot. It saves us. It saves us in tough moments when we're able to deny or project or rationalize or tell yourself I'm not that bad, or you tell yourself these are good mechanisms to keep us alive. And it accumulated in our brain throughout evolution, and we learned to do that. So the difference among individuals in their levels of maturity is not some people are deceiving themselves and some people are not. No, it's how much self-deception usually you practice and how much are you aware of that. So you do it and you're aware of it. You tell yourself, I know it's just, I'm not that bad, but you know you're self-soothing by saying that. Whatever defense mechanism you're doing, especially the immature defenses, you do it and you're aware of it. The people who have some sort of connection, some sort of dialogue between your conscious thoughts and their unconscious world, there's some proximity there. There's some awareness. At least they are aware of their unconscious motives. They are aware of their own motives inside them, whether you believe in the unconscious or not. But you're aware of your deeper levels of your personality. You don't just look at the surface. The people who are able to connect the dots, it will be difficult in the beginning, but they will be happier, more clear, more genuine, more their normal selves, their true selves, than people that have no connection. There are two layers. So the people who do not have an easy access to their inner selves. So if you want to grow, if you want to be more mature, it's going to require you to have a lot of energy. That's why if people think there is an easy way to get better, I can tell you that you don't want to get better. You want to feel better. There's a huge difference between feeling better and getting better. And if you ask me something, or you want to try to do something, ask yourself this question. I'm trying to feel better, or I'm trying to get better? Feeling better and getting better are not the same. Sometimes they are the opposite. Because getting better might include tolerating feeling bad for a short period of time. So tolerating feeling bad is part of the process of getting better. Delaying your desires and delaying your gratifications and delaying your impulses and controlling your impulses. How painful is that? It's very painful. But that's when you get angry and you lash out, that make you feel better. When you're frustrated and you go give up, that make you feel better momentarily. But getting better is totally different. Getting better means you tolerate feeling bad, you're able to delay your gratification, delay your impulses, control your anger, control your reactions. And your reactions, you have to plan for them. So you don't just react to a situation to feel better. No, you respond to situations after thinking to get better. It's subtle differences in our interaction with the environment around us, because the environment is tough and it's very irritating. We're bombarded by stimuli day in and day out. Some of them are positive, the majority of them are negative. And our brain is genetically wired to have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts. And we spoke about this in a previous video. Why is that? Because negative thoughts protect you. Fear protects you. Misperception of danger protects you. So you have to be aware of that. So you're fighting, you're here as a conscious being, and you're fighting deeper aspects of your brain and your mind that's programmed by things that you have no control over it. It's programmed by your genes and the genetic mismatch we talk about. So it is controlled by your ancestor's gene. So your brain is controlled not by your genes, by the gene that came from your ancestors million years ago. It's also controlled by what your parents instilled in you in the first 3 years of life, 6 years of life. That's how you're programmed. You're programmed by genes, you have no control over them. Not even you didn't choose them. And they are not recent genes that was formed in 2021. These are genes that were formed 2 million years ago, or 3 million years ago, or even before that. And also, what your parents, who were not perfect, what did they install in you as a child? And that combination forms who you are. And the goal is to survive. And the goal is to survive this moment, not the future. Now we advanced, we have a higher cortex. We have goals, we have ambitions, we want to do good projects in life. We want to live longer, we want to be happy, we want to go on the beach, we want to be rich, we want to have a lot of things. So we're fighting that lower brains and lower genes that we have. The people who are aware of that and aware of this mechanism, and they accept it, and they are at peace with their inner selves, and they are even able to laugh at themselves when that happens, and able to tell themselves loudly, shut up, stop doing that. The people who are capable of having that inner dialogue between their upper brain, their conscious brains, and their inner selves, and their past, and their genes, and their parents, and the dirt inside them. You don't deny it. If you deny it, that means the smell of the dirt is too much, it's too powerful. So you deny it, you cover it. The perfume mechanism that you do. But if you accept it and you tolerate it, and the more you forgive your past and forgive yourself and get rid of the guilt and the shame and accept yourself as a faulty, weak human being like anybody else. You're not less than anybody. You're not better than anybody. You're like anybody else. You might be luckier than a lot of people. You will be more able to get in touch with your inner self and more able to empathize with other people. The people who are unable to see people as humans, and they always split the world into all good or all bad. The people who talk a lot about how bad people are. The people who always see the world like this, the bad people, my friends are my enemies. I want to tell you that your biggest enemy is inside you. That means your inner world is also split. If your outer world is split, your inner world is split. That means you inside you are split. You have a good side of you and a bad side of you, and you're not able to integrate them together as a human being. If you don't see the gray area inside you, you're not going to be able to see the gray areas in other people. You have to see the gray area that you are good and bad inside you. Same thing. And other people are the same. And the people who have difficulty with their mothers, and they are not able to incorporate the good mother and the bad mother as one human being called the mother as a child. First 3 years of life, they tend to split the world. You tend to see this and that. And these people tend to have this ideological view of the world, whether it's ideological or philosophical or religious or cultural or ethnic. They tend to split the world. Those who are with us, those who are against us. No, there are people who are not with you, or the majority of people are not with you or against you. They are human beings fighting for their survival exactly like you. There's no big difference. The difference is how much are we aware of this dialogue, and also people, how much are they aware of this internal dialogue. So if you want to get better, not just to feel better, if you want to get better, advance, mature, be happier on the long term, that freedom gives you happiness on the long term. I spoke about the difference between feeling better and getting better. If you can go back about 10 minutes in the video, I spoke about feeling better and getting better. If you're angry and you lash out, you feel better when you're revenge. If you're angry and you suppress your revenge, you don't lash out, you don't get angry. You're getting better there. So are you going to be smoothly transitional from that state of anger into a normal state? No, it's going to be a struggle in the beginning. But over time, you will find yourself, you're freeing yourself from this anger. You're freeing yourself from this desire to revenge, because you believe in yourself and you're confident in yourself, and you came at peace with yourself, and you incorporated the good and bad aspects of yourself into one person, and you see the same thing in others. So when you see an irritating, nasty person with you on the outside, you realize that they are struggling like you. You're more able to accept yourself. That will reflect in your interactions with other people as well. And that's called getting better. Revenge the desire to revenge make you feel better. You're gonna get even with people. That's feeling better. Suppressing your negative emotions make you feel better. Dealing with your negative emotions and being able to manipulate them, understand where they are coming from, and understand that this is part of life, and try to resolve the initial conflict, that's getting better. So feeling better, you want something today to be happy. Getting better is long term. It's the same difference between happiness and pleasure. It's a state of acceptance. So there's a huge difference between feeling better. Most people want to feel better. Give me something quick so I can feel better. Give me something quick so I can solve my problems. Give me the manual for how to be a successful human being. When I see people asking for this, how to be rich. I read this book and you'll be a millionaire in 6 months. People utilize the human's desire to feel better, and people make money out of that. You have to realize that getting better is an ongoing process that starts from today and ends with the day you die. It's process that will not end, and it doesn't have a day when you can say, now I'm getting better, now I am mature. No, you struggle for the rest of your life. It's an ongoing process of growth, of understanding yourself, of understanding life in a mature way. And the people who are capable of doing this, these are the ones who get better, and these are the people who are happy long term. Most people, they don't seek happiness, they seek pleasure. Pleasure is the short term. Pleasure is you want to feel better today. I want to suppress my emotions today. I want to just express my anger and get even with people today. That's seeking pleasure. That's gratifying yourself. The other mature way of life is actually, it's the opposite. Is delaying your gratification, suppressing your revenge desires, okay, understanding people in a way that appreciates the gray areas of life, not splitting, stereotyping, us versus them is the way you feel better, because you ally with people who are like you. It's us versus them. That's splitting. And immediately you see people like this, whether it's racism, religious fanaticism, ideological views, the people who split, all of that is because they are split from inside. And more than likely, they did not resolve their problems with their mothers and their father. So they saw their mom, either the good mom or the bad mom. They did not incorporate the two together in them to have a human mom who had issues, but I forgave her. Same thing for the father, and also same thing for yourself. If you're able to forgive yourself, is if you're able to deal with yourself as a human being, incorporated good and bad together as a human being. When you see a person who's mean and nasty with you, you're going to see the same thing. But the people who are not able to resolve their inner splitting and incorporate it into one whole, immediately, once you see the person in front of you, you categorize them, you stereotype them, and you ask yourself before you even talk to them, are you with me or against me? Are you with my categories, or it's the other one? And that's how people do. That's the majority of people how they do. And guess what? That saves energy in the brain. Because the other way is too complicated. And it just requires a lot of energy, require a lot of humility, require a lot of acceptance, require a lot of suppression of your desires. But that's the ultimate way to get better, not to feel better. And by doing that, you're trying to decrease your self-deception. And as I mentioned, and the title of the video, self-deception is actually your enemy, not the people around you. So work on yourself and work on your inner self and try to resolve these conflicts, come at peace with yourself, forgive your past, forgive your parents, and move on. And thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next week in another English video. Please like and subscribe and share the video if you find it helpful. See you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.